guys, welcome back to another CXC review session. I'm your host, Miss Maya Kim. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our video. Also leave a comment to let us know if our content is useful. So today's video is going to be a really short one. We will be reviewing question 53 of the CXC Biology Past Paper 2016, and we'll be explaining in depth of what is going on in the genetic crosses that we did, because I've gotten a question that is asking me how I got the 1/4. So here's the question for number 53. How did you get the quarter? Thank you for the compliment. So I'm going to explain it. So question 53. Tarzan and Jane, both of whom are heterozygous for blood group A and B, respectively, can have offspring that are likely to be. So one of the first things when you're answering a question like this, you have to read it again to ensure you know the information that is there. So they're telling us that Tarzan and Jane are heterozygous for blood group A. Another thing is you have to know the definition. You have to know what heterozygous means. And a heterozygous person, both alleles are present at the locus, meaning that if both alleles are present at the locus, that means that they have to have an allele that is capital and an allele that is common, or dominant and recessive. So now if they are heterozygous for blood group A and B, that would mean that to have blood group A, a person has to be AA and OA. And having a combination of any of these two would mean that you have blood group A rather. So AA having two capital A would mean that the person is homozygous. So that will not be the allele for any other parent. But OA now, that could possibly be an allele because that's heterozygous. And the same thing for blood group B, capital B and capital B could be a blood group for one of the parents. O and capital B could also be another blood group. The same thing that we said with AA, having both capital A's means that the person is homozygous. It would be the same thing here with having capital B. So the person would be homozygous. So these two alleles, we would get rid of them because they're not needed in this question. So now we know that the parents have OA and OB because that is a heterozygous allele for blood groups A and B respectively. So based on what was said, Tarzan would have blood group A and Jane would have blood group B. So if we were to fill out the table now, so we'd put O in one of the column, A in another, O in another, B. So please remember, we're trying to find the offsprings that Jane and Tarzan can have together, right? So please remember, we have a possibility of 4. That's why we have 4 empty spaces here. So we have a possibility of 4 different offspring, of getting 4 different children. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the possibilities. So if we were to do the genetic crossing using the Punnett square, the first possibility or the first child would definitely have OO as their allele or as their genotype. So you don't have to put both O's. You can just use one big O to represent OO. So we have 2 would be this O times A, so we'd have OA. Put your O, put your A. The next one would be this B times O, so we have OB. Right? Then the last one would be this A times this B, so we'd have AB in the fourth quadrant. All right. So now, as you can see, we have all the possibility of all the children that Jane and Tarzan can have. So one of the children would have a blood group or a blood type being O. Another one would have a blood group or a blood type being OA. The third one would have their blood being OB. And the fourth child can have their blood being AB. And please remember, this means that whenever these parents want to have a child, the child that will come forth or will be born, they can have any of these four blood group. So we don't know what the blood group the child will have, but they can have any of these four. All right. So because we know that the overall possibility for children is 4, right? So that's the total. So just like in a pie chart, sorry, this circle is not so neat, but in a pie chart, we're trying to make it into 4 equal parts because we know we have 4 child. So this one would be the first quadrant, second, third, fourth. So now if we were to read over the question, just to ensure that we're on the right track. So it's Jane and Tarzan, both of whom are heterozygous for blood group A and B respectively, can have an offspring that is likely to be. So we already analyzed the heterozygous, meaning that Jane and Tarzan have blood group OA and OB. So we have to do the cross to know what the offsprings are gonna be. So we did the cross to realize that the offsprings are gonna be O, OA, OB, and AB. But you realize that they have some percentages. So we have to know the percentages. So because all of these alleles are different, as we can see, all of them are different. That would mean that all of them would have been 1/4. All right? Because all of them are 1 part out of the 4, even though I numbered them differently. All of them are 1 equal part out of the 4. All of them have an equal possibility of being the offspring genotype. All right, so that's how I got the 1/4. So if I were to choose the first one, it's 1/4. That's 1 child out of the 4 possibility. It's the same thing if I were to choose OA. That's 1 child out of the 4 possibility. Just to make sure we're correct, we can do this. 1/4. It's 1 child out of the 4 possibility plus 1/4. If we were to look at 2, 1/4. All right. Plus another 1/4 when we look at 3, because we're saying all of them is 1/4. All right. Then if we were to look at 4, it's still 1/4 plus another 1/4. And you know, when we're doing addition, they all have the same denominator. So that's okay. All we have to do is add the numerator. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to the 4/4. So we know we got back our equal part. So 4/4 gives us 1/2. Revise your mathematics. All right. So that's how we get the 1/4. So each of these have 1/4. This have 1/4. All right. This one has 1/4. This one is 1/4 also because it's 1 out of the 4 possibility. This one has 1/4. So all of them now, guys, have 1/4. And if you were to turn 1/4 into a fraction, which I did in the question, 1/4, not in a fraction rather, but 1/4 into a percentage, which I did in the question, you have to multiply it by 100. And that's 100 over 1, 4 into itself, 1 time, 4 into 100, 25 times. So we know that 1/4 now equals to 25%. So that's why the answer is D, where we have O being 1/4, which is 25%. Look at the end. AB being 1/4, which is also 25%. Then B, which is OB, being 25%, and then A, which is OA, being 25%. Also remember, I told you that A have a possibility of being 2 A's, which is 2 capital A's, and OA. And they still mean blood group A. And it's the same thing for B, has a possibility of being 2 capital B's or OB, and it still means blood group B. So this is how we got our 1/4, guys. So let me know if you want us to do a series where we just go through some genetics question. See you in our next video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.